be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this.
Welcome back to another episode of Lone Star College Football. Today we have a little recruiting, little transfer portal. We're only what are we? We're pretty close to early signing day, and with that we have guys like Arch Manning, who we know is planning on being an early enrollee. So we expect him to sign early. But there's a lot of players that we don't know yet where they stand. We have a good idea, but we're not entirely sure. Should we expect them to join the Longhorns, or should we probably not bank on having them for next season? We'll get into some of the guys who are already committed that we feel very confident in. But before we do that, let's just jump into, there might be like 6 or 7 talented guys that we're hoping for. We're not entirely sure where we stand, though. Starting it off with Deuce Robinson, tight end out of Phoenix, Arizona. He is 6'6", 225 pounds, 5-star, number 1 tight end in the country, number 17 in the nation. We feel good. We don't feel great. Right now it's looking like it's probably a USC Georgia battle, and Texas is sitting on the outside looking in. Kind of sucks, when you have USC, who had a relatively good season, all but when they played Utah, and then you've got Georgia, who probably is going to go ahead and win their second in a row national championship. It does make it a little bit difficult to feel confident in that. Moving on, we have Javian Taviano. He is a 6 foot, 185 pound cornerback. We feel good about him as well. Like I said, most of these are guys that we feel, I wouldn't say Deuce we feel good about, but there's a possibility. Toviano, there's kind of been back and forth with him. I've seen reports that say that they feel pretty confident that he might join the staff, and I've seen reports that say that they honestly think we've probably moved on from him. And so it kind of just depends. Sources are sources. You never know what you're getting with them. It seems to be between LSU, Texas, and Michigan for Taviano, and we'll just see. He's an Arlington guy, so he's in Texas. Hopefully, we can get another official visit, or he might have already used it. Hopefully, we can get at least another visit. If he doesn't do an early signing, maybe he'll do the actual signing day. We have another cornerback, or an athlete, Jelani McDonald. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's 6'2", 190, and he looks like he's down between Texas and TCU. And he's out of Waco. It just sucks that TCU had such a good year this year, and now we're having to compete for recruits. I mean, really, TCU isn't a factor. We're not used to recruiting, having battles with TCU. So they had a really good year this year. Can't take anything. They have a good year currently going. We have another athlete, McCall Harrison Pilot. He's a receiver. He's 6 foot, 190. This is showing that it's between TCU, Houston, and Texas. I remember at one point where I thought Harrison Pilot was almost a lock for Texas. If I'm correct, I think he's out of Temple, Texas. On his visit, he's the guy who said, if Arch commits, I'm committing. That's my recollection. Doesn't seem to still have that mindset, because Arch has been committed for a while, and he has not really jumped on that yet. We have an edge, Tassili Akana. We are pretty low on the board. We've got that listed as a medium. It looks like we have Oklahoma, A&M, LSU ahead of us. At the edge position, we've been doing pretty good on the D-line. We got Colton Vosick to flip a couple of weeks ago, so this may not be a huge position of need. A guy talented like this, 6'4", 225 is a great frame for that edge position. So hopefully the coaching staff is still pursuing him pretty well. Moving along, another edge, Damon Wilson. He is 6'4", 230. He's the number 2 edge in the class. We have fallen behind on him pretty far in my opinion. We've got Ohio State, Georgia, Bama, and Miami ahead of us. How in the world Miami's ahead of us after the season they had, I'm not entirely sure. But once again, the edge position isn't. I can tell you why Miami's up there. This dude's from Florida. That's why. Uh, it's not our biggest need, and we'll get into here in a second the what we already have in the class. We have 21 total commits, which puts us at number 4 in the country. So we've got a good class coming in. Um, you know what? That wraps up the current. Like I said, there was only 5 or 6 guys who we were looking at maybe being someone we can hopefully see, choose Texas. It's recruiting is one of those things that this time of the year is tough because in June there's a lot going on. Everybody's taking visits and you're able to hear more when right now kids are quiet. If kids hadn't done it yet, if they haven't committed yet, they're probably keeping it under wraps, trying to let it be a surprise while they sign. So we're going to go ahead and get into our current commits. Before we do, please do us a favor, like the video and subscribe to the channel. We are trying to build a community around college football, and we'd love to have y'all join us. That being said, obviously, we have the number 1 player in the country of Arch Manning, 6'4", 215, Newman High School in New Orleans, Louisiana. He's a brand, to be honest with you. Arch Manning is a brand, and he's talented. He had like 37 touchdowns and 2 interceptions on the whole season. He's talented, and he's a brand. He's bringing people with him. One of the most notable names that he's bringing with him is Jonte Cook out of DeSoto, Texas. Number 5 receiver, number 6 in the state of Texas, number 6 player, number 5 receiver. Jonte, he's 6'1", 175. He's fast. He's a route runner, and he has solid, strong hands. So I'm excited to see him on field. I hope we get a transfer receiver or a transfer portal receiver in, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But if we don't, I feel confident that Jonte Cook can come in and play. Brendan Thompson and Savion Red from last year, they'll step up and play. Cedric Baxter Jr., running back out of Florida. He was supposed to take visits, an unofficial visit to Florida and Florida State. It looks as if he's not going to do so, which bodes really well for Texas. 6'1", 215. He's a bigger dude, which, hopefully he can come in and maybe he's got a little physicality behind him, kind of like Bijan Robinson. We'll do a couple of just different positions. Defensive backfield, we've got Derek Williams, a high-rated 4-star, 6'2", 185, as well as Malik Muhammad, a high-rated 4-star, 5'11", 175. Edge position, we talked about we have edges coming in this class. We have Colton Vosick, 6'5", 225 pounds, as well as Darian Gillette at 6'2", 220 pounds. Defensive lineman, Sadir Mitchell, 6'5", 335. I'm really excited for this guy. I've seen a lot of tape on him, and he seems like he can be disruptive pretty quick. I don't think it'll take him very long to get on the field, as well as Samaje Burrell, 6', 215 at linebacker. I think these are guys that probably step in and play pretty early on, which actually leads me to believe that I missed maybe the most important recruit that we can expect for signing day, which is Anthony Hill Jr., I believe. He decommitted from A&M a couple weeks ago, and it's pretty common right now amongst sources that he is a Texas guy. He'll be wearing burnt orange next year. So hopefully that'll shore up our linebacker positions, especially if Jalen Ford and Anthony Hill decide to stay. Offensive lineman Peyton Kirkland, 6'6", 345. Another linebacker, Leona Lafau out of Hawaii, 6'1", 210. Offensive tackle, Trevor Gooseby. It's kind of weird because you've been seeing our offensive guys that we've been getting on O-line, like Jaden Chapman, 6'4", 300. Peyton Kirkland, 6'6", 345. Trevor Gooseby's a little bit different. He's 6'6", but he's only 280. So it kind of makes you wonder, maybe he's a guard, maybe he's the pulling guard, 280, he can move a little bit faster. I'm not entirely sure what they have planned for him, because if you go to the next offensive lineman, Connor Stroh, 6'6.5", 345 again. So, man, the next one, 6'6", 345 again. Like we're bringing in some studs on the offensive line. We're saying, these guys are going to be so big. You may be good, but if you're not strong enough, you're just not going to push them back. Tight end Spencer Shannon, 6'7", 240. He's a 3-star tight end, but I mean you're 6'7", 240. Like you're a unit. You're an absolute unit. This recruiting class has been, man, it's impressive what we're doing, to be honest with you. It's impressive that we, under Herman, we weren't able to recruit the offensive line almost at all. I think under Herman's 4 years, we had 8 offensive line recruits. And so far, I think we've had 9, not including anybody in this class. I think we've had 8 or 9 just in Sark's 2 years. So that tells you that Herman was really, really bad at getting offensive linemen, and our team was struggling because of it. You want to look at us 5-7 last year? We had no depth at O-line. We had no discipline. We had no development at offensive line, and that hurt us pretty bad. Transfer portal guys coming in. We'll change this up. I'm just gonna hit on a couple the guys that I think hopefully will join us. Dorian Singer, he's a receiver out of Arizona. He's 6'1", 185. He had 66 receptions, 1,105 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I have seen his name on a lot of people's radars for a lot of different teams. I wouldn't get our hopes too high, but I would love to see him come to the Longhorns. If we can't get him, then I'll take either Barry Brown out of Kentucky. He was a freshman, 45 catches, 604 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Or Trayshawn Holden out of Alabama, 6'3", 213, 25 receptions, 331 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Any of those 3 guys, I think, are solid receivers that step on campus and make an impact day one, week one, whatever you want to call it. They're gonna come in and make a difference. Defensive back position, really the main 2 that I want are Fintrell Cypress II out of Virginia, 6 foot, 187. He's a junior, so he'll be an upper class. He'll be a senior next year. 28 solo tackles, 11 assisted tackles, 39 total tackles, and 13 passes defended, as well as Cincinnati's DB, JQ Hardaway at 6'3", 200. He was a freshman. He only had 5 solo, 3 assists, 8 total, and 1 sack. Those are the bigger guys, 6'3" and 6 foot. Ryan Watts came in from Ohio State. He's a tall corner. His wingspan is crazy, and those are the type of corners I like. Deshaun Jameson was great, and he's fast, but you can lose a little bit of speed if you're 5 inches taller and your wingspan is 6 inches longer on each side. Like that helps quite a bit. Linebacker position, we have 3 targets. 2 of them stand out. Obviously, Justin Flo out of Oregon at 6'3", 220. He's a freshman. He'll be. I think he got hurt some this year, but he'll be a sophomore next year, and he can play. As well as linebacker Tyler Grubb out of LA Tech, 6'1", 225, and he'll be a junior next year as well. With that being said, guys, that's pretty much what we have. We're currently number 4 in the country in recruiting. I would expect us to get a couple guys that'll probably boost us into the top 3. It just kind of depends on who else gets what at this point. Texas we're a brand that we can build. We went 5-7 last year and signed the number 5 or number 3 class in the country. So as 8-4 this year, we're making a bowl game. Hopefully, going to go 9-4 after beating Washington. We should be propelling ourselves to more and more and more. With that being said, appreciate y'all rocking with us. And once again, please do not forget, if y'all made it this far, if you liked the video enough to make it this far, then it just makes sense that you subscribe to the channel and leave us a like on the video. Appreciate y'all rocking with us.